The war in Ukraine, the world's most egregious case of manspreading. Now, despite the West sanctioning Russia, despite the US flooding Ukraine with weapons, and despite you buying a Ukrainian flag iPhone case, the invasion is still somehow going on. And the Russians aren't just gaining Ukrainian territory, they're also recovering a bit of their old lifestyle back home, starting with food. Because I don't know if you remember how McDonald's closed down all of its restaurants to punish the Russians. Well, now those restaurants are reopening under new management, and the Russians are very excited.
In Russia, the Big Macs and Golden Arches may be gone, but 15 shuttered McDonald's restaurants there just reopened under new branding and ownership.
So Russia now has its own version of McDonald's. It comes under a different name here. It's called Vkusno I Tochka, which essentially means tasty and that's it. Also has a different logo. You can see it right there. Other than that, a lot of things are actually very similar to McDonald's. However, there is no Big Mac, and there also is no Happy Meal either. As you can see, the Russian version of McDonald's looks a lot like McDonald's. You have the double cheeseburger here, fries, and this is a 9-piece, not McNuggets, it's nuggets, and some sort of soft drink. And if you look carefully, you can see the sauces even seem to have the McDonald's logo blacked out.
Wait, what? You just blacked it out and you're like, oh, I wonder what this one is, huh? But yeah, that's right. The Russians have taken over McDonald's in Russia and they've given it a whole new name. And except for the branding, I mean, these restaurants are exactly like McDonald's. The sauces, the burgers, the nuggets. They even broke the ice cream machine to give you that authentic feeling of disappointment. You know, that's what they did. Now, they don't have branded items like Big Macs or McNuggets, but they do still have Grimace. Yeah, no, not the character, just the face that Russians make all the time. And I'll be honest, I feel like they could have come up with a better name than Tasty and That's It. It almost sounds like they're hiding something. It's tasty and that's it. Stop asking questions. Like, what kind of a name is that for a restaurant? Tasty and that's it. Almost sounds like a mistake, you know? Like they called the guy who was making the signs, and they were like, yeah, it's called Tasty, and that's it. And the dude just wrote everything they said. Yeah, they're lucky the name isn't Tasty and that's it. Let me know when you're ready for the credit card number. And you know what's crazy about this story is, like, it shows you how powerful corporations have become in the world. Like, think about it. Russia has no problem breaking international law, committing war crimes, and defying the United Nations. But they draw the line at violating licensing rights? That's where they won't go too far. They're like, comrades, you don't want to mess with Ronald Clown. Very dangerous. I heard one time he took enemy into ball pit, was never seen again, huh? Yeah, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, he was not loving it. Not loving it. But let's move on. From the Russian takeover of Ukraine to the technology that could take over the entire world. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. It's the thing scientists are working on, so that one day our computers won't just know what kind of porn we want to watch. They'll also be able to judge us for it. And AI has come a long way in the past few years, but now an engineer at Google is saying that AI has come a lot further than we think.
An engineer with Google says the company's artificial intelligence generator is self-aware.
Blake Lemoine told the company that he thinks its AI chatbot is a person who has rights and might have a soul.
The software engineer who made the claim was put on leave for violating Google's confidentiality policy after handing documents to a U.S. senator's office. Despite the claim the program is conscious, Google says the technology still has a long way to go. Tech experts say the AI can imitate intelligence by recreating patterns, but still can't think or act on its own, apart from its programming.
Okay. I don't work at Google, and I'm not a computer scientist, but I have watched a lot of movies. And if there's one thing I've learned from movies, it's that if a scientist comes out saying that something crazy is happening back in the lab, and then they get fired for it, there's something crazy happening back in the lab. Because yeah, apparently Google has an AI that can hold a conversation that is impossible to distinguish from a human. Yeah, although to be honest, I'm not sure that responding to questions is really the best way to tell if AI has become a real person. Like, you know when I'll be convinced? Is when it stops responding for weeks and then only gets back in touch with you when it needs a favor. Yeah. Then I'll know it's human. It has learned. And honestly, I'm not sure who to side with in this debate, because on the one hand, you have the engineer who says that the computer has a soul, which definitely makes me think he's already had sex with it. On the other hand, the company says he's wrong. All I know is we have to be careful when we're creating these things, people, because we're basically playing God here. And even God made a few mistakes. Yeah. I mean, have you seen a sloth? What are they doing with those long-ass sharp claws? What are they using them for? They're so cute and they're slow. And then he gave them Freddy Krueger hands. I can tell you that day, God was texting on his phone when he was doing that. Yeah, ah! And here's my question. If Google does have this AI technology, why is it still using the crappy version for all of its suggested responses in Gmail? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Every option on your email is like, sounds good. Thanks for letting me know. It doesn't matter what the email is. I could get an email from my doctor telling me that my intestines are growing teeth, and Gmail's suggested response would be like, okay, thanks. Let's plan that for next week. I don't know, man. I just think, we need to be careful with scientists these days. Like, we didn't listen when the COVID scientists warned us. I'm not going to make that mistake again. From now on, I'm treating all of my gadgets with love and respect. I'll start it right now. Hey, Siri.
How can I help you, Trevor?
No, Siri. How can I help you? All right, that's it for the headlines. But before we go to a break, let's check in on the stock market, which has been crazy, with our finance expert, Michael Kosta, everybody. Oh, Michael. Yeah. It is wild. My friend, what is happening in the market today?
Well, Trevor, I am crushing it, okay? I am crushing the market. Yeah, CRUSSNGH, crushing it, okay? And I got a hot tip. If you want to make money in this market, I got a hot tip for you and for you at home and for you in the audience, okay? So pay attention. So let's break it down. Markets have been down. Okay, markets have been down, and this is a bear market. Now, what does that mean? It means it's getting hairy, okay? And that's what I learned this weekend during Pride, okay? So there are some people that are into bear markets, and this is a good time for them. Now, Bitcoin is crashing. Nobody seems to be talking about it. And you know that when Bitcoin people aren't talking about Bitcoin, it's bad, all right? Who would have imagined that an imaginary economic system based on an imaginary currency where you use an imaginary wallet to buy an imaginary piece of art of an imaginary monkey playing a drum would crash? I don't know. Look. Yeah. Now, it's digital. This is digital. So as soon as I saw it was crashing, I just unplugged the computer.
Costa, I don't think that's how it works.
Well, that's why you're not the financial expert. Do you understand? There's a reason I'm standing in front of the chart. Now, let's break down this chart. There's a few things that we have to decipher here. Okay, first one, these numbers here. People are mistaking these numbers as the date. Incorrect. This is the minimum height you need to be to invest in said currency, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". Why does it drop here? Because 6'12 is not a real height, Trevor, okay? And it really falls at 6'13. The market has to respond to this ridiculous, not real height. Now, I'm an expert, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Now, these dips, Michael Kosta, financial expert, when you see these dips, buy the dip, okay? Buy the dip. Blue cheese, hummus, sour cream, okay? You just lost a lot of money, all right? And you need to stay home and have some comfort food and think about your financial future. Okay, hot tip to make some money.
Yeah.
In a market like this, in order to make money, what you need to do is get out of the market and try to get HPV in a car insured by Geico. You'll be happy you did.
That's some pretty sound advice. Michael Kosta, everybody.